Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Food Beyond Its Nutrition. And guys, do I have something for you today? I surely do. We have sweet corn puree with white wine. When I'm talking about deliciousness on a plate, guys, this is absolutely delicious, especially when corn is in season. And as summer is approaching, corn's going to be in season. Making a sweet corn puree can take your dish, whatever you're serving as an entree, to another level. Whether it be seafood, poultry, meat, legumes, even tofu, mushrooms, anything, it can take it to another level. So guys, this is easy to do, but we do actually need some equipment. And one of the things you're going to need is a blender. I'm going to use an immersion blender, but a blender, plain old regular blender will do. The other thing that you actually need is a sieve. Now you need a fine mesh sieve so that once you have created your puree, you can pass the puree through the sieve, and this is what will make it creamy and smooth and delicious. So any of the things that are left behind from the corn, any of the skin or anything like that, it will be caught in the mesh. Now let's take a look to see what I have on the cutting board. And of course, guys, the star of the show is corn. I have corn and I'm using fresh corn, and I'm going to cut the rest of the ears. That's one ear of corn in the bowl. And I'm going to cut the rest of that so that you guys can see how I do that. But I'm going to pop that in there for the minute until such time that I'm ready to do that. Now, one of the things that I do want to say to you is this. You can actually use frozen corn. Nothing wrong with that. What you will have to do is make sure that the corn is defrosted fully first before creating this dish. Now, I also have a couple of cloves of garlic. And I'm also going to use some thyme, a fresh sprig of thyme. And the garlic's chopped, by the way. Now the thyme, I'm not going to take the leaves off of the thyme because I want it for flavoring. And that's all I really want it for. I have a tablespoon of white wine. You can actually use whatever you want and or leave it out. You can use cognac, you can use vodka, you can use sherry, you can use masala wine, whatever you want. I also have 2 tablespoons of butter, and this is to saute the corn and the thyme as well as the garlic. And guys, you know me, yours truly, you know I love me some better than bouillon, and that's the no-base chicken. I'm going to use a teaspoon of that. I love that stuff, believe me. Also, I have salt and pepper, and be wary when you, because you can use regular chicken stock, so be wary when you're using salt and stock because most stocks do have salt in them. Now, here's something that's really going to change your game, and it's something that has changed my game, and it is mushroom seasoning. Now, the mushroom seasoning that I use and that you can actually see in my jug is from an Asian cooking store. But you can get mushroom powder on Amazon. This happens to be a shiitake mushroom powder. And what that does is it enhances the flavor of your food. It adds this umami or je ne sais quoi. It just adds something to it. Now, in my jar, I actually have a teaspoon of the mushroom seasoning and a teaspoon of the Better Than Beyond. I'm going to actually make a cup of stock. And of course, I just touched the parsley. I have about a tablespoon of parsley, and I'll be using that at the end. So guys, let's get ready to do this. I'm going to cut the corn. And I'm going to say this, guys. Safety is paramount in the kitchen. Whatever you're doing in the kitchen, you need to be in control. What's going on in your kitchen should not be in control of you. You should be in control. So guys, what I'm doing here that's wrong is my bowl's moving everywhere. I don't have control over my knife. So I decided, let me get with the program. Safety is always a must. I have a damp cloth there. I put that under the bowl and look, bam. There you go, guys. I'm in control. The bowl isn't moving anywhere. I'm in control of my knife. I'm in control of what's going on. You need to be in control in your kitchen. So guys, I'm going to cut off all the corn, all the kernels of corn. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to milk what's left of the cob. Okay. So I'm going to use the back of my knife, or you can use a butter knife, but the blunt back end of my knife. And I'm going to actually run it along the cob. I'm going to run it along the cob and extract as much juice or milk as I can. And it is a milky substance, to be honest with you. When corn's in season, you'll really be able to see this. It can go flying everywhere. The fact that corn's not in season might mean you're not seeing it. But you need to do this. It adds extra flavor and depth to this dish. So once we've extracted all the actual milk from the corn on the cob, we are going to start our cooking process. Okay guys, we are going to heat a pan or a pot, and that's on medium heat. Don't want it high because one, you don't want to burn your butter, and I'm not using any oil here to protect the butter. If you don't want to burn your butter, you can use oil, but I'm going to melt the butter on medium heat, and then I'm going to add my garlic. And once again guys, it's really important, I cannot stress it enough, you control your kitchen. Don't allow your kitchen to control you. So I'm adding the garlic here, and after that I'm going to bruise the thyme, and I'm going to twist the thyme, as you're going to see here. I'm going to give it a little twist. I'm not taking the leaves off, I'm just bruising the thyme. And what this actually does is it releases the essence of the thyme. Actually, any kind of herb that you're using is, you know, something like sage or rosemary. If you bruise it, it will release more of its flavor. So I'm just going to saute that. And once again, guys, you're in control. You don't want to brown it. You just want to release the flavors from the garlic and thyme. I'm actually going to add all of the corn, including any kind of milk and juice that we got from the cob. And guys, as you see here, if I keep still for long enough, you can see the white in the bowl, the white liquid, the white fluid in the bowl. That's actually the milk. That's the juice from the corn. And this actually all adds to the flavor. It really helps to flavor. It can also help to give you a thickness if that's what you desire. Once again, control the heat, and we're going to mix everything really well so the butter that's been infused with the thyme, control your heat, that's been infused with the thyme and the garlic will start to meld and mesh with the corn. I'm going to add here shortly my salt and pepper. Once again, be guided by taste, salt and pepper to taste, okay? And I'm using white pepper here because I think it looks better in the dish, the end result. But guys, it's really important to be aware if you're using stock, and that could be chicken stock or whatever stock you choose to use. It usually has salt. It usually has salt in it. I actually just turned the heat up ever so slightly. It was a little low because I want the alcohol to burn off when I put the wine in. So guys, we're going to add the tablespoon of wine and or whatever alcohol you choose to use and or not. And we're going to give that a nice mix. And this is all coming together, guys. You should really be able to smell this. This smells really, really good. And if you're somebody who likes corn, you know, I had made this dish the other day and I used saffron in it. And I had it with, what do you call it? Smashed baked potatoes. All right. I had it with smashed potatoes and it was delicious. Right here, I added the stock. It was a cup of stock made from my bouillon along with the mushroom seasoning. So guys, we're going to bring this to a boil, and we are definitely going to bring it to a boil. As you can see, the bubbles around the edge. We're going to bring it to a boil, and then we are actually going to turn it down, and we're going to allow it to simmer. It wasn't quite at a boil yet, guys, and it's imperative. I say it's imperative. It's important that you do bring it to a boil, because one of the things we are trying to do is to create as much flavor as we can in the pot. Now, once it has reached a boil, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the heat down, and we're going to allow it to simmer for about 5 minutes. We're going to allow it to simmer for 5 minutes. And so once we've got that done, then we'll actually move on to the next phase of creating this wonderful sweet corn puree with white wine. Guys, it's off the chain. It is absolutely delicious. Okay, we're done. It simmered. It kind of simmered for nearly 10 minutes because I got sidetracked doing something else, but that's okay. I'm going to remove it's a bit hot, but I'm going to remove the sprig of thyme. It's okay that there are a few thyme leaves in there. It will all add to the flavor. And the fact that they are green won't really affect the color overly much. I want my corn puree to be yellow. Even when I used it the other day with the saffron, which is okay, it was still yellow. It was a nice deep yellow. It's nice, deep, intense, and rich. So I'm going to get ready to actually puree this. And I decided to, like I said to you before, you can use a blender. And I decided to use my immersion blender. Well, not thinking I didn't have enough product in the pot to successfully use my immersion blender. And of course, this started a downward spiral. I thought I was actually doing myself a huge favor because I didn't want the wash up. I didn't want the clean up. Okay. And I thought I was doing myself a huge favor. But the reality is, as you are going to see, I really, really wasn't. So anyway, I put the corn, the simmered corn, the fragrant, and it smells and it tastes good too, because I had a little taste, didn't need any more salt, nothing like that. So I'm going to try my immersion blender again. And as you can see, stuff spraying everywhere. Literally, stuff is spraying everywhere. I don't have enough product, and what I should have done was used one of the actual containers that I have for my immersion blender. I'm going to increase the speed here so I can get it as smooth as possible. And of course, stuff started flying out of the bowl, and my clear up actually wound up being a lot more than I wanted it to be. But that being said, I'm going to persevere, and I'm blending at a really high speed, a fairly high speed, because I want this to be really smooth. It's imperative that I can get it to be as smooth as possible. This is part of the dish. And like I said, look guys, I thought it ended there with the mess, but you'll be surprised, it doesn't end there. But blend, guys, I actually blended for 2 minutes. I'm not quite sure if I captured all of that in this particular video, but I blended for approximately 2 minutes, and 2 minutes using my immersion blender, which was fairly difficult under the circumstances, but 2 minutes using my immersion blender actually gave me what I needed. And there I go, guys. I created so much more mess. I had corn on my on my on my tripod. It was everywhere. It was over the counter. I should have just used the blender. But hey, these things happen. But that being said, it was blended smoothly enough that I could then begin the next phase of creating this dish. And that's what you're looking for. What you see in there, it's kind of thickish, and that's what you're looking for. So now I'm going to actually use my fine mesh sieve, and this process is important. Actually, it's really, really important. Some people don't do this, and they'll just go ahead on and use the puree. Well, I don't want any of the skin from the corn or anything like that to be in this puree. I want it to be silky, silky smooth. And to achieve this, you can definitely use a fine mesh sieve or a chinois, which is actually it's another sieve, but it's shaped like a cone. Or, yeah, it's shaped like a cone. And all I'm gonna do, guys, is take the you take a spoon. I'm actually using my spatula, and I'm just going to continue to mix and continue to mix and continue to push the corn through the sieve to create my silky smooth puree. And once again, I'm gonna do this. I was actually gonna cut this out, as in, you know, because it's a process and all I'm doing is just mixing, but it's really, really, really important. And once again, the more you blend is the better the end result. As you can see here, guys, I'm mixing, and you can see what's left, or what's turning out to be what's left. And that's sort of like the skin from the corn that didn't blend. And I'm going to continue pushing it through and pushing it through until, for me personally, I have everything that I need extracted. I don't want to leave anything behind. That's not on my docket, to leave anything behind. Keep pushing, and you can use a spoon to do this. You can use a spoon. As I said, you can use a chinois, and they have like this cone thing. This it's almost like like if you use a mortar and pestle, it is something like that. And you'll use that. Some of them you can actually have this lever that you turn. But anyway, guys, keep pushing the product through, keep stirring it, moving it around, pushing it through, and eventually you will extract all of the corn puree. And I'm just wiping the edge of the sieve on the side of the pot to capture anything that was left on the outside of the sieve. As they say, that's where all the goodness is. Truthfully, that has been captured, and I rinsed my spoon off just to wipe it off, but I pretty much got everything. Okay, guys, there is your sweet corn white wine puree. It tastes delicious, as I had been tasting it all the way along. It really does taste good, and as you can see, the color for me hasn't been affected. The color hasn't been affected by the few leaves of thyme that were left. Well, I decided that I wanted the puree a little thicker. Mind you, what I had is perfect, but I decided that I wanted the puree a little thicker, and I wanted to show you what to do and how to do that. So I'll put it back on the stove, and it is medium high-ish. Medium high-ish. It's not high, it's not too high. Again, you need to be in control of what you're doing in your kitchen, so your kitchen doesn't control you. You can see the bubbles starting to form, and I'm going to bring it to a gentle boil. And this took some time because I cut some of this out, but it was a gentle boil. I want a gentle boil. I don't want a hard boil. And you see, I created a trail there. That's the thickness that I was looking for. That is exactly the thickness that I wanted. So guys, I'm going to plate this up so you can see. And again, this works so wonderfully well with so many things. But I'm plating this up so you can see. It actually smells absolutely delicious. And if you like corn, if you're somebody, do you know, I started to say earlier, if you're somebody who likes corn and mashed potatoes, guys, this is off the chain. You make this with some mashed potatoes and any kind of protein that you like. I'm telling you. Right now, I'm just going to dress it up a little bit. When I serve this, usually what I do is I will chop the parsley and sprinkle it over it. Well, guess what? It wasn't centered. Look at gravity taking care of an issue. There you go, floating right along. Well, that's it, guys. Sweet corn puree with white wine. Bon appetit! Come on, guys, let's eat.